सभी को स्वागत किया है मेरे यूट्यूब चैनल से। और आज आप लोगों के साथ बात करेंगे यूएस सुप्रीम कोर्ट टैरिफ डिसीजन, हाउ कुड इट इम्पैक्ट गोल्ड, सिल्वर, इंडियन स्टॉक मार्केट। द यूएस सुप्रीम कोर्ट implementing decision on President Trump tariff could reshape global market. Analysts predicted a ruling against Trump may bolster the Indian stock market and impact gold and silver price. U.S. Supreme Court today delayed it is the ruling on tariff imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump on the country trade partner. The court does not announce in the advance which decision it will deliver. Media report notes that the U.S. Supreme Court typically released ruling around 10 a.m. Eastern Time (ET) on opinion days. Tariffs beyond the presidential authorities. This will be the first time as the U.S. Supreme Court will issue a ruling on the Trump's sweeping the tariff. On April 2 last year, Trump imposed the tariff in the range of 10 to 15%, terming it is the Liberian Day. Trump's tariff with a challenge in the court and a lower federal court's minute report have already ruled that many of the tariff exist presidential authorities under extraditing laws. They stated that the statute used by the Trump's administration does not explicitly empower a president to impose both import duties. This power has traditionally have been reserved for Congress under the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Supreme Court will now give the verdict on whether Trump can invoke the International Emergency Economic Power Act (IEEPA) to impose tariff without Congress approval. Arguments on November 15 indicates that 6-3 conservative majority expressed deep concern over the use of federal law by the Trump administration to impose tariff. Tariff ruling may have a significant impact not only on the U.S. physical health but also on its trade politics for Trump. It could be a biggest legal defect so far in second term as the president of the U.S. How could the U.S. Supreme Court tariff ruling affect the Indian stock market? Experts see a strong possibility of the court ruling going against Trump, which could have a positive impact on the Indian stock market. They say if the court give a verdict that the tariff are completely illegal, it will be a big hit to Trump, and it will be very favorable to markets like India, which have been severely impacted by Trump's tariff. There is a high probability of the verdict going against Trump, but the details are significant. That is, whether it would be a partial striking down of the tariff or completely declaring the tariffs illegal, said VK Vijay Kumar, Chief Investment Strategist, Geo Investment. Vijay Kumar said the market reaction would depend on the details. If the Supreme Court declared Trump's tariff illegal, there would be a rally in India since India has been the worst affected by the 50% tariff, said Vijay Kumar. The Supreme Court decision could go against Trump because the tariffs were imposed under emergency provision that cited a widening U.S. trade deficit as justification. That wandering trade deficit for the US is not something that happened overnight or within a few years. It has been true for the past more than 15 years. So a problem which has been hanging fire for 15 years cannot be addressed using the emergency power so that it is a valid agreement, Vijay Kumar said. Swarup Pahuju, CEP and the Director and the Chief Operating Officer of Wise Financier pointed out that the U.S. Supreme Court likely ruling on tariff power may look like a legal story on the surface, but market rarely see it that way.